Welcome everyone to episode 52 of the Phoenix Report. I am Jack Connor, and with me is a guy who I've known for many years. A guy who is another one of these guys who I've wanted to get on this show since day one. Lately, some circumstances have allowed it where it's just the right time. This is a guy I know, and I was in his very first band with, which is a badge of honor for me. As many of you who know me know that I was in a band called Zebrageist from 2009 to 2012, and this guy was really part of what I consider sort of the classic lineup of that band. There was a drummer in that band before I showed up, who ended up playing on our first EP, but Brian was like the only guy that like we had really played with together at that point. It's myself, Brian, and Russell Hawes and Jose Perez. That was kind of the core lineup of what Zebrageist ended up becoming. Brian ended up joining us shortly after we recorded our first EP, and which managed to get picked up by 97X. And 97X is an alternative rock radio station based in Tampa, St. Pete, which is where we're from, in case you don't know. One of his first shows he played with us was a contest to get on the Next Big Thing, which is their big festival that they have every year. And it was really cool to kind of experience that all through him. Russ, Jose, and myself, we had all been in other bands, and we'd been doing it for years. And Brian was the kid. He was just starting out. And just to see everything happen and kind of see it through his eyes, especially when we got picked up by the radio, was really, really cool. And that made it all the more special. We ended up going our separate ways about a year after that in 2011. And since then, he's gone on to do a lot of other really cool things. He is a certified music teacher in Pinellas County, Florida. He's also played in a few other bands like The Best Day Ever, and currently is with a really cool band called Cruel Curses. So, I usually go this long and not, say my guest's name right off the bat, but, you guys already know who it is, so we'll just get into it. Please welcome to the Phoenix Report, my good friend, Brian Scott.
Hello. Thank you.
Yeah. Brian, you were the drummer for Zebrageist. You came in, and I forget who it was who made contact with you originally, but I think it might have been Russ who found you. I don't know if it was Craigslist.
Yep.
But you were you're very unique in a lot of drummers that I've had the experience of playing with. Is that you really dove deep into like theory, and you really understood the technical side of it probably better than almost anyone I've played with. You came into it with a real like cerebral approach, to drumming, and you knew, most importantly, you always knew what to play and what not to play, which I always thought was a really cool quality. And you always, were all about serving the song right away, which I think is a really unique quality that I wish more drummers had.
Yeah, well, thank you. I appreciate that. And the song comes first, man, first and foremost. So I've always tried to do that. I still try to. So
Absolutely. I mean, we had a lot of really great times with Zebrageist, and I'm so glad that we've managed to stay in touch all these years. When you look back on that experience, like, what do you mainly remember a lot about it? Like, as far as like when you first came in and first met all of us, was it, I mean, just because you were a young guy, like just kind of out of high school, this is like kind of your first like real band, quote unquote?
It was the first real band. I think I just turned 19.
Yeah.
And I had some free time, and just started music school at St. Petersburg College, and I'm like, I want to join a band. And I was looking around Craigslist, and I heard it was a demo for Embark. Mm-hmm. On Craigslist, and I'm like, this is amazing. I want to be in this band. And I hit it up on Craigslist, and Russell got back to me. He goes, here's a couple songs, learn these songs. He sent me I think he sent me the EP. He's like, learn the songs for the EP. We'll get going. And I'm like, okay, cool. And so I practiced. And then I remember when everyone came over, I opened up the garage door. I was warming up. Everyone knocked on the garage door, opened it up, and I'm like, oh, these are like grown ass men. Like, I didn't know how old everybody was. I was
curious about that because I knew we all had a couple years on you. I mean, we're still like, because I'm 34 right now. You're
27.
27. Okay. So, I mean, like less than a decade of a spread there, but right. Still, I mean, still, especially when you're 19 and you see these guys in their mid to late 20s, you're like, whoa, these guys are for real. And right. I was always curious if that was like intimidating at all or anything like that.
I was scared to death, man. But then, like, and seeing like people, because I jammed with people before, they had like amp where I had to play so soft because no one had real gear. Like that's all I played with before. And then like here comes like Russell with like a half stack and like a PA, and like everyone came in with full gear, and like,
Oh yeah.
at least 5 years older than me. I remember being terrified. And I'm like, I better not screw this up. And I had a job interview the same day. I got my first job the same day.
That's right. Where were you working at the time?
It was a grocery store. It was called
Nature's Finest Food. Yeah, on Central Avenue in St. Pete.
Yeah, but I remember because I got in a band and got a job the same day.
Like, wow, you're making some moves in your life at this point.
That's looking back at with Zebrageist, to go back on your question. Just just young and excited, and I got just started college, just got my first job, just got in a band. And, just everything was just really, really looking up and just exciting, and everything was new. And I just absolutely loved it. And, just playing shows and one of the best perks was being 19 and playing with the band. And they're like, yeah, here's your free pitcher of beer. And I'm like, woo! Like, so just like, this is what it's like, running around playing late and just having fun and just, and having the energy to do it. I loved it every second, man. So,
I remember that when we first started like practicing in your mom and dad's garage, and and just like kind of seeing all the stuff, not only just your drum kit in itself, but you would also have like different like little almost like mechanisms within that where it's like I could tell they were like kind of custom built, and I was like, wow, this guy's like really like mechanically minded and all that, like, and it's funny like because it kind of reminded me a little bit. At first, you kind of reminded me a little bit of like Garth from Wayne's World, where he was just like sort of that quiet, kind of guy, but just like you could tell he just the wheels were up there turning. He was always just messing with stuff, and like, and obviously being a drummer, obviously it lends itself well to that. But
right, party hog, yeah, love it. Anyhow, so a lot of because I did classical percussion, so a lot of those little toys and knickknacks. I mean, they were like tambourines, jam blocks, and little stuff like that, little splash cymbals, just, because I was going to school doing, orchestra and like random Latin stuff. And, I still play steel drums. I was actually just working on the steel drum tune until you called me. So anyhow, yeah, so I've always tried to bring, stuff I learned from that to music, on a rock and roll drum kit too. That was the thing. I didn't want to be just a drummer. I wanted to be able to do percussion and much more. And, because there's so many just drummers out there. That, you hit two, boom, bop, okay. And okay, that's your job. That's great. All right. Nice. Move along. I've always wanted to, of course, always serve the song, but I wanted to always be musical. So, and more than just one field. So anyhow, but yeah. And then like Russell is just such a songwriting giant that really opened up my eyes, and all you got, and everyone was doing double duty. Everyone else was singing and playing. And I'm like, oh, I'm just hitting things with sticks, something I need, I had a weird music education growing up. They never made me sing. So like I, started music school. They're like, yeah, you have to sing this. And I'm like, I don't sing. Like, and it was terrible. So.
well, we never made you do that. We never. I mean,
thank God.
It was always encouraged, but didn't want to force it.
Couldn't carry a tune in a bucket back then, man. Couldn't do it.
One thing I can say about the way you played, even back then, and which is a really important thing to note, is that a lot of guys who might be more like, I guess, technically knowledgeable about stuff, don't always quite have the feel to it. And you, I think, I can say that you've always had a lot of great energy and a feel to it, so you took to it right away, despite, not having the experience of being in a band and really like playing like rock, like seriously playing. So, obviously being a fan of like Megadeth and other bands, and that lent itself right away because we all love that stuff too. So, right away, I felt like you fit right in.
Yeah, and I'm still trying to work. I know feel's a tough thing. I'm still trying to work on feel, and I always kick myself on feel. I still do, because I'm watching guys like, I'm going a little nerdy here, but I'm watching guys like Steve Jordan play, the guy that John Mayer picked up.
Yeah.
It is ridiculous. He just plays an AC/DC beat, and you have to move. Yeah. I wish I had just that laid back soul funk kind of like that. But that's why I like Dave Mustaine and Megadeth, because they were thrashing, but he would they would lean back and do the halftime, and just out of this thrash there's just this groove, and it almost kind of swings, and then you go back in. And I've always been such a fool for that,
Were you a big fan of like Nick Menza? Was he sort of your favorite Megadeth drummer?
That's tough. That is so tough. I love the records Nick Menza was on.
Yeah.
Technically, my favorite Megadeth drummer was Jimmy DeGrasso.
Yeah.
And he was, but I don't like the albums he was on. I love what he played. I don't like the albums he was on. Like World Needs a Hero, and I think he did like one
Risk.
other one. Yeah, I don't listen to Risk.
No?
I own it. I don't listen to it.
I gotta confess, that was actually the first Megadeth album I bought.
Oh, no way.
I thought it was cool, but like I get it. I get it compared to like the thrashier stuff. It was such a departure. I mean, so I understand.
Well, I came in it backwards because I'm young. I'm not an '80s kid, but actually the first one I bought was The System Has Failed.
Okay.
And that was actually with the studio drummer. It's Vinny Colaiuta. I can never say his last name, but it was a session drummer they used. Anyhow, but that was the first CD I bought. Actually, the reason why I played drum kit, my mom was playing the Cryptic Writings album, and Disintegrators came on, and I went, I want to do what he's doing. And I'm like, oh crap, there's a drum set in my garage. I'm going to go learn how to do what he's doing. And of course, that's Nick Menza on that one. But yeah, and just, it's technical, but high energy and fun, and they got a feel. Anyhow, Megadeth for me is like a perfect band.
So how old were you when this all started? This is what inspired you to play drums. So like, I was going to get to this anyway, but how old were you when you started playing, like really playing?
8th grade.
Okay.
I was however old you are in 8th grade, like I think 13. It was like that summer between 8th grade and 9th grade. Right. I used to lock myself in the garage for 3 hours at a time and drive the neighbors crazy.
Something about that age, man, because I was around that old when I started playing bass as well, and it's just like, I guess something about that particular time in your life, you kind of figure out who you are and what you're into, so it just kind of happens for a lot of us.
Well, I was angry in middle school. I was not a happy person, so and that was another reason why. Well, I think that's another, but I was raised a good kid.
Yeah.
So I didn't, get in fights or be mean. So I came home when I put my headphones on and I blared angry thrash metal fuck you music and just like that was my outlet, and that's when I fell in love with like Fear Factory and a lot of those kind of groups, just to kind of get my, teenage angst out some way, somehow.
For sure. I mean, same here, man. Unfortunately, I did get into a fight here or two here and there, right. But it wasn't because I was trying to instigate it, but that's another story.
Right.
But had you tried to get bands together when you were in high school?
I did one. But when I was in high school, though, I went to the music program at Gibbs, so I was doing classical music. I was in the jazz band. I was in the regular wind ensemble. I was in a steel drum band, and I ended up taking steel drum band and a college steel drum band and a college percussion ensemble while doing my senior year of high school. So I really didn't have time. That's all I was doing. But I did. There was we tried to do like a 3-piece thrash metal band called, I think, Predator. With it was 2 guys, and I actually went into the bathroom at high school, just urinal next to this guy, and he looks over and he goes, "Dude, love your Megadeth shirt." And I'm kind of like, awkward bathroom talk. Yeah, thanks, man, it's awesome. You play anything? I'm like, yeah, I play the drums. He goes, I play the guitar. Okay, we should be in a band. And this whole time we're whizzing next to each other.
Nice. That's perfect. That's exactly
I remember
how it should go.
And the bass player, I remember we did a thing. He's like, "Oh, you like Megadeth, right?" And he does the little bass solo lick and Take No Prisoners, just flawlessly in high school. And I'm just like, badass, man. And anyhow, but it ended up not working out at all. Like we wrote a few songs, right? And yeah, anyhow, and then it was after that I waited till after high school, and that's when I found Zebrageist, and it was like, oh, holy shit, this is what playing in a band is. And
did you know even back then when you were in high school that you wanted to do that for a career, like you wanted to be a music teacher, if not, I mean, even if the band thing didn't work out for whatever, that you wanted to study that in school?
I didn't know I wanted to be a music teacher, like an elementary music teacher like I am. I know I wanted to do music. Like my career, something my life will have to do with music. I don't know what it is, but I'm going to go run in this direction, and I will make the choices when I have to make the choices. But when you're like 19, 20, you're just running around playing music, just being a dweeb, and my folks were so supportive, and it was great. They didn't kick me out of the house at 18. I was going, I worked part-time and did college, and they're like, hey, as long as you do that, like, run around, do your band thing. And so it was like, sweet. So
yeah, no, I mean, your parents were always just great, with us and just very supportive. And yeah, I mean, you and I are both lucky that we kind of come from similar situations where it's like you have that level of trust. It's like, okay, I can see that you're not screwing around, that you're in school or working or what have you, and then yeah. So that definitely helps to have that positive support at home. It's a shame that after the 97X thing that the band kind of ended up losing momentum for a little bit there. Yeah. I think, and I'm not gonna point in any fingers. I think we were all there. We were all kind of. I think maybe because it happened so fast, like we got that opportunity almost like right out of the gate. Then.
Right.
Then it was hard to not be like let down by like, oh, now we just have to go back to playing clubs again and regular stuff.
Right. At a bar, at the Emerald.
Right. Which we did, which we had fun with that. I think those are still up on YouTube, that old footage somewhere.
Yes, they are. After the Gallows and those tunes.
Right.
And,
yeah.
Like playing with Critical Resistance and with These Words I Fall with the violin guy. Yeah.
Did you hear about Rob from that band? He passed away like about a year ago.
I did hear about that, and he was like in the Bearded band. He was like in a country band where they were all had beards.
Brothers band, because he would play violin, and so he could get gigs with that. So
right, yeah, yeah. And I'm still friends with Ryan from Critical Resistance.
Yeah, me too.
Actually he ended up dating a girl who I grew up across the street from. So I went to go visit my folks, and there's Ryan in the middle of the street, and I'm like, "What the hell are you doing here?"
Oh, you knew Virginia?
No, it was a previous.
Oh, so it was before Virginia. So
yeah,
got it.
Anyhow, but he's just standing there and he goes, "Oh yeah." He's like, "Yeah, for this girl." I'm like, "Dude, like she's been my neighbor since I was like 3." And yeah, he gave me a big old hug in the street and we parted ways. I run into him at Publix,
he and I ran into each other a couple weeks ago. It's he's a good dude.
Yeah, he is.
But yeah, no, we had a lot of good times for sure. And I think what had happened was several things. I think, again, coming down off of the next big thing, we didn't end up going, advancing to the next round or whatever. So, I mean, maybe we were kind of a little discouraged by that. But I think also we were trying to write a lot of new material. And... Yeah. One of the things I mean, and I'm not trying to single him out, but one of the things I've noticed about Russ, in all the years I've known him, is that he is an incredibly eclectic guy, and he will almost go through different phases in terms of like stuff that he'll write. And I felt like he was at that point where it's like, we had the EP and he had spent a lot of time with it already by that point. So he almost kind of wanted to not do those songs anymore and wanted to write like new songs that didn't really sound anything like it, which in itself isn't a bad thing. I think having variety is good, but I felt like we were trying to make jumps in like different areas and try out different things, and I don't think we all were on the same page with that. I know there were a few like choices we ended up making after that I wasn't totally on board with. So I think that ended up leading to the band fizzling out the way it did. But I do think that we had a really good period there of like about a year or so where the four of us were out there playing gigs, driving up to Jacksonville on a whim.
Oh God!
And that whole thing was crazy. And we had a few good shows here and there, I thought.
Right. I'm just gonna say this out because anyhow I didn't want to I'm not trying to be a dick or anything.
Yeah.
The whole thing. I enjoyed everything we played. I enjoyed all the songs. I didn't think it was going in a different direction. I know Russell think the band needed a different drummer. And that's okay. Mm-hmm. And that's why I left. Anyhow, me and Russell made amends. We're cool with that fact. But that did hit me hard. because I poured everything I had. And, I mean, like I said, excited 19-year-old kid. It's like and it was my first band breakup. It's just like anything, the first girl that, walks out on you, you cry in the, fucking pillow, or you're manly and you punch a hole in the wall, and then you just, you get over it, but anyhow, so, that's all that was. I mean, he was just trying to do what he thought was best for the band, and that didn't include me. And, that's fine. But like I said, we patched that up, like I said, we can hang out. That's great. It was great seeing you at the beach with him. And
yeah. The three of us ended up meeting for the first time in a long time a couple months ago, and that was amazing.
Ever since. Yeah,
and that was a really good time. Unfortunately, Jose wasn't able to make it, but he and Russ, there was.
They've always been tight.
Yeah, well, I mean, there was a period where the two of them kind of fell out for a little bit, but then they got back. Then now they're really good friends again. So.
But that's what friends do. You drive each other batshit crazy, and then you get over it. So and then
these things happen sometimes. But looking beyond Zebrageist, I know you still kept grinding. While you were going to school and getting your degree and all that. I know you played with a few other bands. I think the Best Day Ever was one of the bands that you played with.
There was really I haven't played in that many groups. Really it was just Well, I tried a cover band thing for a while, and that ended up not working out. Bad Apple was the name of that group.
I wasn't familiar with that.
Yeah, well, that didn't last long, and it was probably a good thing it didn't. And then, I did. It was another thing. I got caught up. I was, working, driving to Tampa for school, practicing 5 hours a day on classical percussion. I would go to school, fall asleep between classes as I was wiped, and I was playing in a church band for 4 years. So I was playing in a church band, driving to Tampa, working, trying to see Chelsea, practicing 5 hours a day. I was fried. And, I didn't have time for a band. And I finally had a semester because I was getting so close to the end, but they only offered like 2 classes at a time. So I was stuck with a semester with only 2 classes after I was doing semesters with like 10 or 11. And so I was like, oh, I got all this free time. I haven't touched my drum kit. And so I went, screw it. I'm going to find the best sounding band to me that week. I'm going to find them. I'm going to ask them if I can join. And I just scrolled down Craigslist. I'm like, nope, that's crazy, screamy, technical metal. Don't want to do that. Nope, country, don't want to. I found Best Day Ever. I'm like, okay, not necessarily my cup of tea, but I want to go for it. And I knew the singer. She was a singer, a wonderful singer at Safety College. And actually, I didn't see her again because her band, that cover band, they got a Carnival Cruise gig. And so they played on a cruise boat for a whole year. So she just totally disappeared, and I didn't know what happened to her. But she went off playing on a cruise. And so it was the same band, just they wanted to do original music. That's why it was still called The Best Day Ever. We ended up changing names to Children of Orion because they were still using the cover band name, trying to write this crazy like space odyssey concept album. Like it was supposed to be like 3 concept albums. And so anyhow, we only did one. Right. Oh yeah. I recorded like one album with them. It was like 15 songs and we did nothing with it. So, and they like wanted to like move and do that full time. And I'm like, I'm about to get married. I'm finishing my degree. That's not me. So I saw my way out of that band. They're still wonderful people, wonderful musicians. And the thing that I've been so spoiled with, I think, and they always tell you, like, if you really care, you find bands with musicians that are better than you, that push you. And, or at least with like songwriting, like I said, Russell's, like songwriting prowess, I can hold a candle to, and, just musicality between just some of the other people, like the vocals of, Best Day Ever, really just try to match the level of what was around me. And even the Cruel Curses now, I got mad respect for the front man because he's a drummer first. He writes he writes drum part and not just like, oh, I think this beat. He writes these awesome fills and drum parts. And I'm like, oh, some of it's like, oh yeah, cool. I can do this. Maybe I could tweak this. And some of it's like, holy shit, I got to learn what he did. This is amazing. And so I just been so lucky. Like all 3 major bands I've been in, I've just been surrounded by just very strong musicians that I just make me have to do my homework. So
for sure. I mean, I know for the time that we played together, you were always just up to the task, whatever it took. You were always up for the challenge, and you were always passionate about whatever it is we were doing. You would dive in head first, and that's a good quality to have.
I love music, and I don't know, and I lose my mind. I'm up there playing drums, and I make faces. I look terrible. I don't even know what I'm doing. You know, I mean, I'm playing the notes, but the rest of my body, I have no idea what the hell's going on. Like,
No, I mean that was never a bad thing though. Like I would have friends of mine who'd be like, "Dude, man, your drummer reminds me a lot of like Taylor Hawkins." You know, just
oh shit.
well, I mean mainly because he kind of looked like him a little.
Right, the shaggy hair.
Yeah,
he looks like Shaggy. Right. So.
Yeah, you do kind of have a Matthew Lillard thing going on with the goatee right now.
If I had $1 every time, man, holy cow.
Zoinks, like I don't know what you're talking about, man.
So.
Nice. That was awesome.
Oh boy. Yeah, but anyhow, had a lot of fun playing around the area and still playing with Cruel Curses. Now this August will make like 3 years I've been with them. So
okay, yeah, I was going to ask you about that. How did that all come about? Like, was that band already together, or did you like form it with them? So yeah, so I mean, you've been involved with bands like the Best Day Ever, and then you mentioned that you've been in Cruel Curses for about 3 years now. So that's pretty wild. Like, so how did that all come about? Did those guys, did those guys have a band together, or like how did you guys all meet? Like what's the behind the music with Cruel Curses?
Yeah, so your whole VH1 behind the music deal.
That's right.
So anyhow, my wife's got a stepbrother named Eric Bourne. And he was Ryan's lead guitar player, and they were in 2 bands together. They did Ascending to Avalon. That band broke up. Then they did Beautiful Corpses, which was kind of more of a southern rock, kind of just groovy southern rock band. Anyhow, my first show with the Best Day Ever, Beautiful Corpses was on the same bill. And
that's right. Didn't you play with Beautiful Corpses for like a show or two? Or I remember that.
We did. We played some of their songs when we first got started, but I never played with Beautiful Corpses.
I didn't know if like you did fill-in work with them or something, because the name rings a bell.
No, we played a couple of their tunes. We had like an hour and a half long gig, and they wanted only original music, so we played a couple Beautiful Corpses tunes. So we were featuring that.
Nice.
For one of them.
Was Ivan in that band? Ivan Pena?
Yeah, yes, he was.
Yeah.
He did bass and sang. It was Eric Bourne on lead guitar, and I think his name is Paul. He was one of the drummers, and he got a really good feel. I remember watching them play.
Dude, Ivan and I go back years and years and years. I've had him on the show before with Soulfound and all that. So
yeah, he's a good guy. We crossed paths a couple times. We did another competition. It was like at Ferg's in Tampa. I think it was like another backyard barbecue or next big thing deal. We played that with them. And then with Disco playing drums, I can't remember his actual name, but
Dan Cano.
Yeah, thank you. And Disco played with the Best Day Ever guys for a while. Actually, that's who I replaced.
I've known those guys for like 13 years.
Yeah, so whenever Disco left, it's such a small web. So Disco left Best Day Ever, I joined Best Day Ever. Our first gig with Best Day Ever, Beautiful Corpses was playing. And so that's how I knew about them. I did not know Ryan, who, he's the singer frontman of Cruel Curses. So anyhow, so we kind of were aware of each other, circling each other. Best Day Ever turned to Children of Orion, and I ended up leaving that for my own personal reasons. We're still cool. And then after that, college picked up and got crazy again for music. And Ryan called me and goes, "Hey, man, I'm looking for a drummer for my band. Can you do it?" I'm like, "Hey, I just got done with this, cover band thing, and I'm almost done with college. I can't do it." And he goes, "Oh, okay." He was really disappointed, hung up the phone. A couple months later, I'm done with school. The cover band fell apart. And I'm like, man, I wonder if Ryan's still looking for a drummer. So I call up Ryan, and I'm like, "Hey, dude, are you still looking for that drummer?" And he goes, "We got somebody, man. Like, you're too late. I told you. We were calling looking." I'm like, "Oh, shit. I'm sorry, man." And hung up the phone, and that was that. And I think it was like the next day, he calls me back. He goes, "The guy we had just did a no-call, no-show for practice. Are you still wanting in the band?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And he goes, "I'm sending you the songs. You're going to learn them. We're going to do this next week." And Ryan's such an energetic guy. And we ended up talking on the phone for like half an hour. And I was like, "Can I have an audition?" And he goes, "You're going to learn the songs. I'm going to email you right now. What kind of stuff you like to play? Blah, 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 blah." And so anyhow, he gave me like 3 songs to learn. And I went over to, I think the first bass player, Kyle. Anyhow, we did it at his house. And we ran through the first song, and I guess they had a whole sea of troubles. They went through like 9 drummers, and nobody was fitting the bill. And I guess they did this one song like no one got through without screwing it up. And I played my way through it. And Nick, the guitar player, he ended up taking a squeaky toy and did 2 laps around the house. because because I was able to play all the way
Wow.
through.
He was
So
really happy about it. He was psyched.
and so after that moment, I was in the band, and and I learned the demos that Ryan reminds me a lot of Russell.
Nice.
He would demo out the drum parts, bass, vocals, and just send it out, learn it, let's go.
And
So
had they been like out playing shows already before you showed up, or?
I think they did a few things, but then I think they just kept not finding a drummer.
Got
And
it.
they couldn't.
Okay.
They would find a drummer for a while. They would learn some songs, and then he would quit. And they would find another drummer, and they like wouldn't learn the songs. They would find another drummer, and so they told me it was like months. And I think like even one of the guys was getting ready to quit. Like it's like if we can't find a drummer, I'm done. And then just magically, the guy did a no-show. I got an audition, and like August will make 3 years, and the rest has been history. We got an EP done. We got a full length that's going to be done at the end of this month. We're going on a 10-day tour in June. So I mean, it's been going, and that's been the most chill group of guys to play with.
Has it been mainly the same guys the entire time you've been in, or have there been like a few guys in and out, or?
We've been doing Spinal Tap, but with bassists.
Oh, okay.
So we're since I've been in the band, we're on bassist number 3.
Okay.
Nick from Sahi. I don't know if you know him. Sahi's been around for a long time. They're Tampa boys. Nick moved here now, but they've been around I think 6 years. But anyhow, so he's the lead guitar player. Ryan's been playing drums around here since he was like 7, and then we got this new bass player, Jeff. He is a monster. He joined the band and I started practicing twice as hard because he's just such a beast. And we've had that relationship, drum and bass.
Got to lock in the rhythm
section. Got to do it. And because everyone else was kind of learning songs, filling in. So I did my thing. And Jeff came in and he was just laying it down. And I'm like, oh shit, I got to lay it down. So that's
the beauty of it though. It's not like a competition necessarily. It's just, you like the good bass player and drummer dynamic. You guys, it's always good to like kind of push each other to to have more energy and to try to get the best out of each other.
Right. Oh, definitely. And that's what I said earlier. Like, if you want to be a better musician, you find bands with the people that are better than you.
For sure.
And to make you work, because Ryan sings, plays guitar, and plays drums. Either just as good or better than me. Jeff is terrifying on bass. If he spent that amount of time on drums, I just wouldn't be playing drums in that band. And Nick is just such a energetic monster and a wonderful lead player. So I mean, I really have to be on par with these guys, because if not, the slack will show. I mean, they're all hard workers.
For sure.
So.
Man. Yeah, I was listening to your EP earlier today. It was definitely had like sort of a garage rock influence, kind of, but also like kind of 70s blues, like classic rock type of thing. And
yep.
I was trying to think of like, it reminded me of like Velvet Revolver and like a little bit of STP and mixed with like Wolfmother.
Okay. Yeah.
And what else was I thinking? Not necessarily White Stripes, but something like.
Yeah, we're not that raw.
yeah. Not quite that raw, but it's like there's definitely a quality there to it. Or I mean, because you look at bands like Greta Van Fleet now, who are like making some moves, and there seems to be sort of a shift towards that direction a little bit. So it kind of seems to. I mean, I would think something like that might work out in your favor. Or like Royal Blood or something like that.
Well, Ryan, like I said, he's the main song guy. He's a Dave Grohl junkie, so Foo Fighters. He loves Queen of Stone Age, and he is a gigantic Led Zeppelin bottom fan. So, and then, but he also just kind of got like that swampy blues vibe to him too. So, I mean, so you can kind of see all those elements perk. This full length we're doing, actually, a lot of people are like, oh yeah, like you kind of, everyone's like, yeah, you're a prog band, and it's, we're not doing Dream Theater stuff, but I mean, there's some places where I'm just counting.
Yeah, I mean, there are definitely some intricate moments in there for sure.
Right. But it's still good old rock and roll. But this new stuff is very exciting. It's more like movements. It reminds me kind of like just like parts and pieces, like Master of Puppets. Just it's like classical movements. It just happens to be rock. And and I like Ryan's voice. He's got that high voice. I've always been a fool for high voices. I've always loved bands, like Kansas and all those, all those guys. Earth, Wind, Fire. I've always had a thing for high vocals.
Yeah,
and
sort
that's
of
why
that
I
high.
love your singing too,
Thanks,
man.
thanks. Well, I mean, I don't get quite as high as those guys, or at least not as much as I used to. But still, yeah, no, there's definitely a lot of power in some of those higher tenor guys.
Oh yeah.
Guys like Miles Kennedy and so on and
Oh
so forth. Yeah, he's just a beast. But
yes.
but yeah, man, no, I'm excited that you've been with these guys as long as you have, and you guys are starting to make some moves. And so tell me about this 10-day tour that you got going on.
Yep. So we're going June 22nd to July 1st. We would like to. We're almost done. We want to try to book one more date, but we'll see how that goes. It's hard to book a weekday show. So we're going to start in actually we're going to start in Winter Park with you guys.
That's right.
And actually thank you, Jack, for helping us get that show.
Let's not bury the lead. Vertebreaker and Cruel Curses are going to be playing a show together.
Yes,
June 22nd.
So long. I wanted to play with you again.
It's been a long time coming. So,
even if sadly I'm not in a band with you anymore, but at least I get to play with you.
Brian, I will tell you this right now. If I was still living in St. Pete, you better believe I would be calling yourself and Russ and Jose and giving Zebrageist another shot, because I had so much fun with that band, and I mean, you three guys and I had so much fun together. I would say, like, hey, let's give it another shot, or let's do something together.
I personally, I've always wanted to play in a band where you're the front man.
Thank you.
Yeah, man, I miss playing with you. I would love to play with you again. And I've told my wife that all the time. I'm like, if Jack was here, I mean, there would have been no questioning what band I would join. Me and Jack would find some people and we would make this work. Actually, we almost did the thing with Chris, particle effect guy.
Christian Rivas, yeah.
Christian Rivas, thank you.
Yeah, he wanted.
I would have loved to do that.
Yeah, he was thinking about something. I remember we were talking
trio.
Yeah, we were talking about that, and I wasn't sure what he wanted me to do. Like he wanted me to try and come in and like play guitar for particle effect for one point, which I'm not much of a guitar player, so it was a little bit odd. But I managed to introduce him to the young guy he's working with now. Who's a really great guitar player, and so I was glad I could kind of help him along with that. But yeah, no, Christian's a great dude, and he and I saw each other recently.
Oh, total ADD. Sorry, tour.
Yeah, no, let's bring it back around to the tour. So
Bubbles.
You're playing the first show with my band, and
yes. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you're listening to this, get out there June 22nd at the Haven in Winter Park. Correct?
Yep, that's right.
Yep. So that's going to be the first day of our tour. I'm super excited about that. And then we got a hall bucket all the way up. We're going to Somerville, South Carolina.
Okay.
We're playing a show there. And then we're running over to Murfreesboro, Tennessee, outside of Nashville, playing a show there. And then out of just crazy planning, trying to get a gig, we got to run back to North Carolina, play a show in Charlotte. And then we're trying to find a gig in between. And then we got a show in New Orleans. That's going to be so much fun. None of the guys in Cruel Curses have been in New Orleans. I've been there like 7 times, so I can't wait. Beignets and voodoo. We're gonna have so much damn fun.
Nice.
And then we got a show in Atlanta, Georgia, and then our home show, the last show that Sunday we come back home, is going to be at Foo Bar, right on Central in St. Pete. So that's like a perfect way to come home.
Yeah.
So, yep. And this is support of our new album. Ryan's still working on the name for it. But right now the working title is The Ghost She Sings. So we'll see which name sticks. But we got a friend of ours in Coming Home, the band. She's doing artwork for us for the album. We're really excited with what she's come up with. And so, yeah, just having a lot of fun.
Well, I mean, it's definitely works out pretty well for you being a teacher. You've got some of the summers off, and so you've got a little bit of time. And not only are you a teacher, you're married to a teacher. I am also married to a teacher.
Yes.
Not the same teacher, of course.
Right. Oh, yeah, that'd be weird.
No, yeah, we would be really close then. But yeah, no, I definitely have a lot of respect for what you guys do. I don't think I'd have the patience to do it myself, but what's it like being a music teacher sort of at the elementary level? Is it kind of cool, like keeping yourself connected, to music and having that be your job?
It's, in elementary, it's fun. I mean, you're those kids released for the day. They're stuck in a desk, math and stuff. They come to see you. I mean, it's their break, even though we got to learn stuff. So, I mean, but we're singing, we're playing drums and dancing. I mean, and song games. I mean, it's it's just fun, and just, I try to always embrace my inner child. And, it's just, and it's a job I can sleep easy. What did I do? I taught kids how to sing a song today. I taught kids how to read eighth notes. You know what I mean? Like, and that stuff I wish I learned when I was in elementary school, because I did not learn any of that. Oh my goodness, I did not learn any of that. Because I'm like, if I would have been able to learn what I'm teaching and like grow up and then be able to get in a band with people, I would be so much better, so much earlier. But I love it. It's challenging, but it's a very rewarding job. Sometimes it doesn't feel like it, but it is. So. Summer's 2 weeks away. I'm not counting. That'll be. Who's counting? But that's gonna, it's a lot of fun. Like I said, I've always wanted day in, day out. I want music in my life. I mean, I come home and I practice. I come home and I play a show. And I still gig on steel drums. A lot. So I mean, I'm doing steel drum shows and playing with Cool Curses, and I've played weddings. I've played for I can't remember his name. It's like a favorite football announcer. I played for his daughter's wedding down in Sarasota. The name will come back to me later. Mm-hmm. But I mean, I got to play some really cool stuff on steel pan too. And, I just try to take everything I learned and just shove it in little kids' heads. It's a fun way to spend a day.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I like the fact that, I mean, that you still have the desire to make original music too.
Yes.
Which
yes.
A lot of guys get kind of soured on it, and understandably so, because, look, it's a grind. You don't really make any money doing it. You're kind of doing it for the love of the game. But
yep.
But the fact that you still have that itch, that burning in here to do it, those of us who do it know that feeling, and it's good to know that you haven't, that you're still doing it.
Right. I mean, and it's, when you do get a chance to get on stage and play something that you helped created, it's just, this is the groove I play. This is how I play it. And even though, you don't get paid a lot, but when you have that guy that's like, hey, that song was freaking amazing, or hey, that drum thing you do in song number 2, man, because it's never, they never know like your song name or whatever. It's like, yeah, the second song you played when you went, that was awesome, man. It was just raw. And like that just makes it.
That's what I was going for.
Right, exactly. That just makes it. And to be and people are there for a show. I mean, you've played with me. I'm I'm losing my mind. Hair's in my face. I'm eating hair, and
that's what people want to see, though. So, I mean, because even as a drummer, you're still performing. You're still, you still have some stage presence there. People
the only thing
that.
Yep. The only thing I hate about drums is I can't run around the stage.
Right.
Besides that, I would not want to play any other instrument in a rock band. But just I wish I could just run out to the crowd playing the drums. Just that's the only thing I wish.
I mean, you could. I would just do that between songs.
That's just creepy at that point.
Right.
So
but
anyhow,
the guy standing up like, oh, okay, Brian, we got to kick into the next song now.
Right. But and actually, we just played last Friday at State Theater. And it's breaking my heart. State Theater's up for sale. No word on it yet, but they already got rid of 662. 662 is now a place that serves biscuits. And they shut down the Octaves. That's now a hipster sushi place.
Mm-hmm. I saw that.
It's just St. Pete music scene is hurting hard. And this probably we took this gig. I had other stuff going on that night, but I made plans because I'm like, this might be my last time playing State. And, you're on that, and I love guitar players and singers. I'm not trying to be an elitist, but when the sound guy goes, give me that kick drum, and you just hear that boom, that just rattles the place. You are God. Mm-hmm. The only reason why people are going to be moving on that floor is because of you. And now if you miss a note, everyone and their mother is going to know it. But
well, that's the thing about being in the rhythm section is, a wise man told me a long time ago that you own time. You right. Control it.
Yep. And you got to be careful. But man, like hearing that kick and snare come through at a venue like that, it makes every second of music is just that much better. I love every show I play, but when you get, up high on a stage like that with that sound and just, you feel like you can take on the world. And, like we only had a 30 minutes. I think we ended up 25 because the band took too long getting off. It was one of the best 25 minutes of my life, just Loved it. Absolutely loved it.
It occurred to me that you wouldn't be the first guy to be in an original rock band and to be a music teacher as well. Because you know who did, at least before the band broke big? Dennis DeYoung from Styx.
He was a music teacher?
Yeah, I think so. I believe he like taught at like the elementary level before like Styx broke big in the early 70s.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
Hey,
cool.
So
I know
you,
Sting
you
taught
be the
English.
first guy.
So yeah, and I think Sting. I don't know if he did college, but yeah, I know he's got like degrees. He's crazy. I think he was like out of like I think he was an English teacher for a while before he did his thing.
Gene Simmons taught school before.
Now that surprises me.
Yeah.
Let's measure how long my tongue is, kids.
That's right.
So cool, man.
No, that's true for sure. Well, I gotta say, man, I'm so proud of you for sticking with it as long as you have, and for just never giving up, and just all the things that you've managed to do, in college and now professionally. You, my friend, are a musician's musician, and it's really
I try.
and it's really cool for me to have known you when you were 19 and seen where you are now.
Right.
It's incredible, man. I'm so proud of you, and I'm so glad that we're going to be playing a show together in June. So
I'm so psyched for that show. It's going to be so much fun.
For sure, man.
Oh yeah. Well, thanks for having me on, man. It's so good. Just I know we're talking this for the podcast, but it's just good just getting to talk to you.
Anytime, man. I mean, and it's like this is an excuse for us to get together and joke around and
hell yeah,
and just pull in random references that no one really knows about, and
right.
It's just an excuse to have you on my show, and I'm glad that this show we're doing coming up has kind of lent itself to that, because I've been looking for a reason to get you on here for a long time, and this is it, and I'm sure it won't be the last time either.
Right? Yeah. I would love to help you out again, man. So.
For sure, because in addition to this, that I also do movie reviews and other things that I feel like talking about, like just different panel discussions. Maybe we can do something like that, where like name our favorite albums or something like that.
That'd be fun.
Yeah, I mean, I've been thinking about doing some different content like that, so we'll see how it goes.
Cool.
And it's and where can people find yourself and Cruel Curses on social media?
Yes, so Cruel Curses on social media. We do have an Instagram, we do have Facebook. I think we are on Reverb Nation. I don't think we're on Bandcamp. We're on Reverb Nation, I believe. We got stuff on YouTube. Facebook's the main one. Our EP is up. The full EP, full album is up on YouTube. So you can listen to that whole thing. These Good Omens is the name of that EP. The Ghost She Sings, I think that's our working title now, should be done, I want to say like May 28th. And that's going to be a 10-song track with a lot of new stuff featuring our new bass player, Jeff Briggs, laying it down. He is a monster. And then, we got our 10-day tour. Until that tour, we're playing, June 3rd, we were playing at the Niagara Tap with Murder the Crow. Tyler and those guys, they're very cool guys. And then we might have one other show, but we're just trying to hang tight and just practice and get ready for this tour. So that's where you can find us, and hope you like Cruel Curses. And also, if you're on social media, do that. Check out Vertebreaker with this guy.
Thank you.
Give him thumbs up. Listen to his stuff.
And in addition to our show, I forgot to mention we have two other really cool bands that are going to be playing with us. We have my good friends Auditory Armory. They're
just
in Orlando.
Played with them. Yep.
Yeah, they're an Orlando band. They've been around. They've known me and the Vertebreaker guys for a long time. They're fantastic. And we also have a new band called Grim Ghost. They're from the East Coast, from like Melbourne.
I don't know them.
Yeah, no, they're like a relatively new band, but
okay.
We've known a few of those guys for a couple years now, so it's like, the guys have been around for a while, but the band is relatively new, so it's like we're kind of giving them their first shot here with us as well. So you get people like yourself from the West Coast of Florida, and then the East Coast of Florida, and then Central Florida, kind of all mixing together. Yeah. So it should be a fun night. I'm really looking forward to this lineup.
Yeah. So it'll be my second time playing with Auditory Armory. We just did a show with them in Lakeland. With Coming Home the band, and there was and I feel so bad. There was another band and I can't remember. But it was a cool little, it was kind of like almost like right by a radio station in Lakeland. and got to play that show with them. Auditory Army. So that's going to be another
Cool.
So I already know 3 bands playing this show. So it's going to be an absolute blast. So.
For sure, and folks interested in our earlier work, you can check out Zebrageist on Facebook. We still have the old page up.
Oh, no way!
Yeah. Again, I don't really go on it all that much, but I have it on there, and it'll like promote that everything that we have going on, you and I and Russ and Jose, and so it's there. I mean, we don't put a lot of new music on there, but at least you can keep up with us, see some old pictures of us, and
oh Lord,
and I'll use that to post, be like, hey, if you used to like the band, check out what we're doing now, and,
cool.
and so on and so forth.
Oh yeah, I've seen you do that. Yeah.
So that's up there as well. Brian, this has been awesome. I know you and I could talk for hours and hours, but
yep.
I know we both got to work tomorrow, so we're keeping it relatively short. But yeah, I was really glad that you could come on here and sort of tell your story.
Thank you, man. Thanks for having me on. I really do appreciate it. And yeah, so definitely Cruel Curses, Vertebreaker, Jack's awesome. Thanks for having me on. Hey, no, you're awesome.
You are.
Oh, we got from Boston.
Oh, so, yeah, wicked doc out there. I don't even know why. So. Good stuff, man. Thanks once again to my old friend, my former bandmate, Brian Scott. He's just a great guy, great drummer. Always great to catch up with him. And check out his band, Cruel Curses, at cruelcurses.com, facebook.com/cruelcursesband, and on Instagram, at Cruel Curses. I'm really excited to be playing with them on Friday, June 22nd at The Haven. Tickets are available on ticketfly.com. We will be there along with Grim Ghost and Auditory Armory, who is doing a special set. They're going to be throwing a lot of covers in there. I might be going up and singing a song or two with them. I'm not even sure what it is, what I'll be doing with them yet, but they asked me to do something with them. So that should be a lot of fun. So go ahead and check that out. Again, ticketfly.com. Look for Vertebreaker, Auditory Armory, Cruel Curses, and Grim Ghost at The Haven in Orlando, in Winter Park. So if you're in the area, definitely come on out. And that is it for this episode of the Phoenix Report. Make sure you follow me on Twitter at jackxconnor. Like me on Facebook at facebook.com/jackconnormusic. Also, feel free to check out my band, Vertebreaker, at facebook.com/vertebreakerband. And we're also on Twitter at VertebreakerFL. Check out me and Brian's old band, Zebrageist, which is at facebook.com/Zebrageist. And I believe we're on Reverb Nation as well, so you can hear some of our old songs. So that is it. As always, if you have any questions, comments, or suggestions, make sure you email me at jackconnorpodcast@gmail.com or tweet me with the hashtag Phoenix Report. If you're listening to this on YouTube or iTunes, make sure you subscribe, leave a comment, leave a good rating and review. Go back and listen to all the other episodes. Thanks once again for listening. This has been the Phoenix Report. I am Jack Connor. We'll see you later. Bye.